The treatment center just off I-35 is as secure as any maximum security prison. The 100 men inside have been sent here because they pose a significant risk of committing another sex crime. In order to understand more about these men called sexual predators, I asked to meet some of them face to face. Here's an example of what these men are like.
I have a long history of attacking women. On 8 occasions I've raped them.
Always a weapon, sometimes a weapon?
No, the vast majority I run up behind them, grab them by the throat. Most of the rapes I choke them unconscious and then rape them.
Have you killed anyone?
No.
Will you? Will you rape another woman when you get out of here?
Well, I have a long history. It's impossible for me to say I wouldn't. I would like to think I wouldn't.
But it could happen.
Sure.
And that's why you're here.
Yes.
It had to have been terrifying for those women, Bob. Would you do that to a woman again? Would you terrify her by putting her through that again now that you've learned what she went through?
I've always kind of known, what my victims go through.
Is maybe their fear and their terror part of why you do what you do?
I'm not sure if it's the fear so much as the power, but in a way, yes.
This man allowed us to use his picture to tell his story, but asked us only to identify him by his first name. Our second interview asked that we not identify him by name.
Molested my sisters, and I got pulled into the cops for questioning. And
The reason they sent you here is because a judge and the people involved in the commitment process thought that you would molest again, that you would offend again and perhaps molest other children or other people.
Yeah.
Would you?
No, not in my mind. I don't believe that I would really molest again. I have things we call high-risk factors and stuff that I try and keep away from.
How do you feel about what you did to your sisters?
I don't like it. I think it was really kind of, when I look back on it now, I think it was kind of stupid and dumb and gross. And
After a sex offender has finished a prison sentence in Minnesota, he can still be locked up under the state's sexual predator law. A court has to rule that there's a strong likelihood he'll assault another victim. Once he's ruled a sexual psychopath, he's committed here to the Moose Lake Treatment Center. But after only 2 years of Minnesota's sexual predator law being put into effect, this facility's already full, and there's no other place in the state where a sexual predator can be sent. The alternative is to set them free once they've completed their prison sentences.
One, the men really, because they're civilly committed, cannot be kept in a facility that is solely correctional or custody. We have to offer them a treatment component.
The only way a sexual predator can ever be released from Moose Lake is to successfully complete the treatment program. But in the last few weeks, part of that program has been put on hold due to a controversy. People in communities near the facility have objected to the supervised release of the men.
Yeah, I've got 3 girls, and I'm gone a lot. My wife's here alone. I work construction. I'm also in the ambulance service. And in fact, we go over to the prison now and then to pick up patients. And it makes me a real concern for their safety.
But those who head the treatment program say this type of carefully guarded release is critical to moving the sex offenders back into society.
It's important that there be a gradual transition back to the community and that they be allowed to demonstrate increased responsibilities.
Minnesota Attorney General Skip Humphrey agrees that gradual supervised release is important, but says there must be clear regulations in place to assure public safety.
Well, again, only if it's done in a situation in which there is a level of security which can ensure the safety of everyone else.
Program directors say supervised release is the only way the men can effectively demonstrate how they'll act once outside the carefully controlled environment of the treatment center. And if the men can't demonstrate how they'll behave on the outside, they'll never be released. What that means is the next time the courts rule that a man is a sexual psychopath, there'll be no place in Minnesota for him to go. State officials are rushing to try to find an alternative arrangement that will satisfy everyone. At the Moose Lake Treatment Center, Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.
I followed a woman into the park and threatened her with a knife.
This is one of 100 men committed to this treatment facility. A judge ruled that he was a sexual predator with a strong potential to reoffend.
I can understand why people would want to keep somebody who repeatedly goes out and attacks women locked up. I can understand why, but I don't personally like it.
When the Moose Lake Treatment Center first opened 2 years ago, the community was told the worst sex offenders in the state would be sent here.
It was unfortunate that sort of the announcement of the creation of this facility, or the ultimate building of it, came out about the same time the Silence of the Lambs, and there was an analogy between Hannibal Lecter and the men that we have here, and I don't believe it's warranted again.
It is true that some of the men committed here after completing their prison sentences can be frightening. But if they accept counseling and work at the intensive therapy program in place, the experts say there is strong hope that most can be rehabilitated.
Our goal is for them to do two things, basically. One is to learn to develop a sense of responsibility and accountability for their actions. And the second is to develop specific skills which would allow them to manage their life more effectively so that they're no longer harmful to others.
It's an expensive program. The ratio is 100 sex offenders to 175 full-time staff. New research shows such an intensive program can work if a sex offender is committed to making it work.
Yes, what we do know is that treatment can be very effective in preventing future offenses.
But if a sex offender refuses to participate in treatment, the law says you can't force him. About half the men at the Moose Lake Center are currently refusing treatment. So why keep a sex offender here at an annual cost of $112,000 apiece if he refuses treatment?
The alternative is that these very men would be out in society, and society would be at a great risk.
Legally, the only way you can keep an offender locked up is to offer him treatment in a facility like this. If he chooses not to take the treatment, well, that's up to him. The only other legal option is to set him free. At the Moose Lake Psychopathic Treatment Center, Barbara Riles, Channel 6 News.
First ever cloning of an adult animal, a sheep named Dog.
You don't recall having your leg up and pushing against...
Detective Raymond signed a release and cooperated with a polygraph examination by someone who the investigators felt was highly qualified to do that and to have a credible report come out of it. And the information they provided me with is that he passed it with flying colors.
eventually it's you who are paying us to do this job. And if we're not meeting your needs, your expectations, then we're done.
And it's a nice event in that each boy, and we also give the adults an opportunity to make a car out of a block of wood, and it has to meet certain weight and length and width specifications.
It's gotta weigh 143 and
143 what?
Like ounces or something. I don't.
And then they also can be creative with the design and style and paint.
I was gonna make a slit down the middle so it'll match up to where it makes you go, so I can be 2 inches ahead of everybody before it starts. But that'd be cheating, so I didn't get to do that.
And then when the actual race comes down, they learn how to win or lose graciously.
I just hope I win.
I think they looked as far as they thought they could, but I believe there's quite a wide-ranging diversity of groups that could be asked for better input.
Well, I've been preparing for this for about a month and a half now. I've been slowly packing up my belongings and getting ready for this day. It's just basically a precautionary measure. I value my belongings inside my house.
Box after box, load after load, Don Kolajewski moves his belongings. The Bad River is living up to its name, and threatening waters have Don and his family moving in with his mom for the next several days.
Well, last year it got to the point where I lost my porches and the skirting around my trailer, and within inches of, I'd say 2 inches to get inside my house. So this is a wake-up call for me this year. I'm going to really work on trying to prevent that from happening this year.
Last year, Don didn't move, but was forced to leave along with 30 other families when emergency crews evacuated the area. He was gone 5 days, and when the water receded, he faced a mess to clean up. Despite the hard work and the hardships, Don says while he may be leaving, he'll be back.
I like the community. This is my home. I'm here to stay. I would never move away from here. I mean, this is like an act of nature, and it's just something that I'll have to deal with every year. I mean, if it's going to happen every year, I'll just have to deal with it.
Thus the name Bad River?
It's living up to its name, Bad River. Just something we'll have to deal with.
I started because my grandma gave me an instrument. I just thought it'd be cool to keep going, so.
Do you have a lot of fun with it?
Sometimes.
Is it a lot of work?
Yeah. I haven't kept up on it as much as I'd like to, but I do it more for fun.
This may be a hard conversion, and nothing is easy because everything is English, and there's multiple ways to convert things. But anyway, that's real life. So, and marked in red if it's included.
It just might. That's what we do in our office now. We do a lot of brainstorming, and you never throw out an idea until you completely eliminate it, and there may be a couple ideas come out of this class. That's what we're hoping.
We've been concerned for many days now that, we were going to have some bigger problems this year, so I've taken a few days off of work so we can kind of watch the pumps and make sure everything goes okay.
I'd say my biggest fear is that they're going to decide to close the school, and then because of that, there's going to be 150 plus students that they'll have to find a new school to go to, and it's very unlikely that that will be 1 or 2 schools that they'll divide it up among, but more like 4, probably 4 for sure.
It's designed to help kids learn how their education relates to the outside world, and also to introduce kids to some basic business and economic information by people who are actually out in the working world.
Is there something that we could talk to real quick?
Maybe Brian.
Anytime anybody gets
as a fatality, it concerns us, but it's one of those high-risk sports that mountain climbing, bungee jumping, white raft canoeing, sometimes when you have an accident, the results are fatal.
So I asked the school board a student-run business proposal. Money's
involved in wanting to make sure that we give accurate information.
This may be short-term. It's going to give us all some breathing time to look at that whole central area, and I think that's the positive thing here.
I mean, it scared me so bad that I thought I was shot. Yes, I'm sorry. On that camera. send everybody? Who had to take the lead? He's already Carter.
Are you leaving a vehicle here? No, I'm not. Okay. Matthew.
Early Friday, troops began arriving at the Duluth headquarters, checking in for active duty, the first since 1995. It's not easy to leave family members who come to say goodbye.
Be good for Mom. Take care of your sister.
Friday evening, a motorcade with 31 soldiers and heavy trucks leaves for East Grand Forks. Followed shortly by C-130s. One half of the entire 1st Battalion, 94th Armor is now fighting the floods across the state. Officers say even more troops may be needed if the Red River refuses to drop.
Massive amounts of water have pushed many Red River Valley residents out of their homes, forcing them to find shelter.
Forcing another entire town to head for higher ground.
Alan Tweedell and his family left their Grand Forks home on Saturday, driving straight to Bemidji.
Because there were so many people that had lost their cars, lost their homes, elderly and handicapped people, again, without transportation. They were going to have to evacuate the nursing homes and hospitals, and there's no reason that we would have needed to stay so close to home. We would have, if as many people that could get away would make room for others.
At Bemidji State University, they found a temporary place they can call their home. Linden Hall is a dormitory usually used by commuting students, and it's set up much like a motel. So when the university decided to open its doors to flood victims, this hall was the obvious choice.
Well, we want to help out our neighbors, and if we were in this situation, we would expect help and want help, and we just want to make it as comfortable and as easy as it possibly can be under a stressful situation.
The Tweedells are devouring newspapers, radio, and TV newscasts, watching this natural disaster saturate their town.
It's very upsetting, and I think reality will hit home when we get back and see what our houses are like. And I do want to say that people here have been so great. They've been really hospitable.
In Bemidji, Angela Wang, Channel 6 News.
They're not doing the work, the activities that we were doing in class, but I never thought.
Public is quick to jump to a conclusion that if the student made it, if a child made an accusation, if
yes, you said
be aware of every case. It's the only one.
Just in that
Your experience, and you mentioned a little bit.
Well, going back.
I've had nightmares, difficulty sleeping, just a lot of different emotional, highly stressful type feelings where, and it's bringing, with the lawsuit beginning, it's bringing a lot of the feelings back from when it first initially happened, and I was extremely devastated at that time. Mm-hmm.
And as soon as water's up and available, you know, that'll be great for us because we can get up and we can start putting out like fresh products that you need to have water to put on the shelves, actually, like cut meat products, etc. Right now we're running strictly with packaged goods.
They've dispatched a large group of staff workers from their corporate office to try and get the store in Grand Forks back in full operation.
One of the most important things that we found that we can do in that community is just get our store up and running, because having a regular food source is so important to a community.
It's an exciting day for the students because not only do they get to come with their families, but also they get to choose a teacher that has been most influential in their educational career thus far.
The Board of Trustees at Marshall School are represented this evening by our President, Robert S. Mars. Mr. Mars will stand. Our treasurer.
And I think that my husband using marijuana, I'm sorry to say, I myself, I don't, but there are a lot of people in this world that do, you know, so I don't think that him using marijuana would make somebody try to burn down your house, burn down a little girl's room. I mean, you know, come on. I don't see it. I really don't.
Does Michael still use that?
Does Michael still use marijuana?
Yeah.
Yes, he may. I don't, like I say, and
They call me the captain only when they want something.
Rich Malkoviak's two mates probably want the only fish they've caught since 6 this morning, a walleye named Fred.
Just enjoying the weather and the companionship and listen to one of the guys brag about the little fish he got.
Well, I tell you what, catching a fish wasn't as much thrill as doing it before my two partners. That was a thrill because I had a chance to tease them a little bit.
We're doing manly things, so...
These three buddies have been fishing companions for the last 15 years, and even when one moved to Minneapolis and the other to South Dakota, distance did not and will not stop their tradition of fishing the opener together on Rice Lake.
Come up here and do some fishing and have a good time and relax and play some cards and just enjoy ourselves. I think getting together, the three of us, if we catch fish, it's more fun, but just getting out and relaxing.
City clerk, and she can distribute these to you later. Thank you.
Well, that's interesting because at this point we have nothing on our table, and that's why I wanted this task force address so that we know that they understand that also. Presently, we have no ordinance that we are considering.
It seems like we've all had a bike when we were a kid, and we've all tinkered with them and worked on them. So this way, everybody is happy, and it just levels it all out.
We want this guy in handcuffs. We want him off the street.
For FBI Special Agent Linda Veazey, the search for 27-year-old Andrew Kunanen has become frustrating.
Any new information like that, any update on description, whether it's clothing, whether it's hair color or height or weight, we're going to put out to the public.
In the past couple of days, 8 new photographs of Kunanen have been released, including one taken as recently as last month. Veazey says they are varied photographs, some showing him with glasses, some without.
Because it's really only going to take that one call, that right call, to put him in jail.
Investigators are considering how Kunanen could be traveling, maybe by train, maybe by bus.
We have to make them aware of it. We'll make them aware, with the flyer, we'll make them aware so that in case they see the actual person, they can also notify us.
We have not ruled out bus travel. We have not ruled out the fact that he still may be in this red vehicle. So at this point, until we can actually pinpoint where he is and put him behind bars, we're going to take each lead very seriously.
Your Crime Stoppers tips continue to help Northland Police catch criminals and locate stolen property. We received a call at the end of March which identified the burglar who broke into Gronk's Grill and Bar in Superior. An anonymous call in April revealed who burglarized Les's Grocery on 2 different occasions. Superior Police contacted both suspects in the burglaries, who then confessed. Another tipster learned about the stolen rugs from Grayson Plaza in Duluth and called Crime Stoppers. No one has been arrested, but Duluth Police recovered the rug. All of these cases were featured on Crime Stoppers' Crime of the Week, but that isn't the only reason to call us. Carleton County has developed another solid case because of an arson tip in their county. Keep calling. Your tips do help solve crimes. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. That's 723-3683.
Be friendly and be nice to people that aren't really friendly, and be nice to them. And we learned about to be friendly to them and ask them to play with you, and don't play with like bullies, and don't be
Well, how that works is they wanted to sell more tickets. Obviously, they wanted to fill the house, and so the day of the show this morning, they did that. And that's not a deck deal. I mean, that is a promoter. We rent the building to a promoter, and we're basically a landlord on this, and it's their deal, and that's what they came up with.
or most people would overdo it at fast food. So I would recommend people keep an eye on portion sizes and be aware that they don't need as much as they're probably getting.
Keep it simple. Kind of the KISS slogan we call it. Keep it simple. The more sauces and breadings that you have on it, probably the less healthy it's going to be for you.
You kind of get into the books and it's like you're really there, and it's just fun.
It's really cool because in one of the books I'm reading, I can't put it down anymore.
With your parents and your brothers and sisters, you can read to them, they can read to you, you can go to the library, you can do lots of stuff over the summer. Be it reading newspapers or magazines or books. But keep it up if you can during the summer, all right? Can you promise me that you're going to do that? Because everybody can raise their hand if you can do that for me. Can you?
We believe parents are ultimately responsible for their child's education, and the governor's plan gives money directly to them, not to a public school or a private school or to a union, but directly to parents, so they can have some more opportunities for their children in regards to education.
Our jobs are good and bad, just like everybody's job. This is by far the best part of our jobs, is getting out and doing things with the kids because they really get into it.
It's the last day of the school year at Albrook, but some of the most excited people there are guest teachers. They're workers from Potlatch Paper Mill in Cloquet who dedicate part of their time to teaching the paper business to youngsters.
Cubs. Pull. Pull. Got it. Good job. Tired?
Yeah.
Second and third graders found out paper making can be hard work, but not quite as hard as they thought.
You can make paper out of just drying it and just putting it in there and rolling the crank and put it through.
Did you ever think it would be that easy?
No. Well, I was doing paper before. I was here for Cub Scouts, and it's I didn't know they had like this paper. I didn't know that there was pulp. I thought it was paper right away, but it wasn't. It was pulp.
Lessons on the paper-making process and caring for the environment draw the kids in, but eyes light up when it's time to make a souvenir.
Good job. They all seem to enjoy making their own little sheet of paper, forming it, pressing it, drying it in a little way, just the same way we do on a big scale in the mill.
There's your sheet of paper.
Summertime, birds, flowers, and yes, lawnmowers. But many homeowners are facing a problem with lawn care this year: winter kill. That brown, crispy patch of grass that won't turn green. It's caused by a problem known as ice sheeting.
This last winter, we had a late warm rain. Some of the lawns weren't all the way dormant yet. They sucked up some of the water, and then the grass blades froze, basically, just exploding inside.
Winter kill has gotten so bad, some golf courses have had to use temporary greens, like Pokegama and Grand Rapids, losing much of their spring business. And other courses without the dead grass are playing up winter kill for competition.
You've heard the stories. You've seen the disaster. Dead golf greens everywhere.
Experts say the best thing to do to rid your lawn of winter kill is to give your grass some TLC.
Throw some lawn seed out, and then go ahead and throw your sand and peat over the top. Keep it wet, damp until it's second mow. Depending on how dry it is, you may have to water up to twice a day, 3 times a day, 15 minutes at a time. Don't flood it.
And while it may just be the start of summer, it's never too early to ward off winter kill for next year by keeping leaves and other debris off the lawn, allowing oxygen to penetrate grass blades. In Duluth, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News. Backyard barbecues and summer picnics can become family disasters thanks to them. They're mosquitoes, and they're back for another blood-sucking summer.
They are designed to find large, dark objects because they don't see well. And they live in a chemical world, whereas we live in a visual world. So they'll find chemicals and they'll fly toward where the chemicals are in the greatest concentration.
The cool spring delayed the annual egg hatching about a week. But now the mosquitoes are back, and bug spray is in high demand.
Bugs have been coming out now in the last couple of weeks with the warm weather we've gotten, and it's definitely the bug repellents have been flying off the shelves. So,
for the ultimate in mosquito protection, Gander Mountain carries this bug out suit. It may not be pretty to look at, but for $70, it'll save your skin. High-tech devices are available that emit sounds to ward off mosquitoes. But if you don't want to spend a lot of money, you can follow some simple tips to avoid attack. Avoid standing in the middle of a large group. Remember, mosquitoes will go to the largest concentration of chemicals, so take a few steps back away from the crowd. Wear light-colored clothing and don't dump on the cologne or hairspray. Body odor may turn us off, but it attracts female mosquitoes, so don't be overactive. And in case you're wondering why you always get bit and someone you know doesn't, well, there's a reason.
There is some natural variation in people, so there will be people who are not attracted to mosquitoes, and if you know one of those, stand with them, so at least you can share.
Stand with them, marry them.
I'm not sure this is genetic, so I'm not sure it'll help the kids, but at least it may help you temporarily.
If you still become the victim of mosquito bites this summer, one last fact may help you cope. In a good season, mosquitoes only live about 45 days. In Duluth, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News.
And what happened, and Dick Army is actually from. Miss Patton. This is an example of making us victims twice, once by the flood and then once again by politics. And the flood doesn't play politics, and neither does the cleanup. So I would just urge that the Senate clean this up, take care of business, and slide a clean flood bill through so we can all get the relief we need and put our lives back together. My name is Alan Cantrud, and I'm from Grand Forks, North Dakota. And I came here as part part of the business, Speaker Gingrich, be part of that, because he was out there and he observed firsthand what happened. And Dick Armey is actually from...
Hey, Miss Patton, if I could get you up here a minute, you got the money.
This year, yes, the intensification that we're having with our officers out there is new this year. We tried it last year with snowmobiling and it worked out real well. So our department has suggested that we go and try to personal watercraft, and I think it's going to work just as well.
Lions and tigers and bunnies? Yes, shows all over the country. Okay. But it's not always in Duluth. I mean, I know. I was one of the original members of the Minnesota Quilters, and we started it in 1978. So the very first show was in the Winter Fantasy in 1979. So this is a long time that we've been doing this.
I think it's just coincidence, but the building trades over the last 12 years have adopted diabetes as their disease to cure. And all across the country, 300 cities, they're doing exactly what we're doing here, raising money. They're going to raise approximately $2 million today, the day before Father's Day, to help find a cure for diabetes.
Oh, you want to drive or? Marcus, drive. Uh-oh, this is very tough.
New Balance athletic shoe has offered to pay $1 million to the American who can undercut the U.S. marathon record by the most amount in the year 1997.
Very wonderful, wonderful job.
It was wonderful. Because I live in Florida and I'm used to the heat, so when I came here, it's so cool. I just flew. It really helps, yeah.
But yeah, the police station is only 2 or 3 blocks away, you know. I could see it if you got a call where, hey, there's a kid in my garden stealing a tomato or something, you know, type thing. But in a situation like this, you know, it would probably pay to come and check it out.
We have a great time too. It's awesome. They love the music and we love watching them, so that's why we're here.
Traffic engineers tell us that raising the speed limit to the 85th percentile, the speed where 85% of the vehicles are traveling, is the safest speed limit to have. So if people drive in a bunch at 70 miles per hour, there should be a safer highway.
These tracks were suspended 4 to 5 feet in the air. It's one of 7 spots on the tracks that were damaged. The rain pounded the pavement and washed away nearly anything in its path. Streets became rivers. Some people's basements became pools. Sewers overflowed, adding to the water flooding in the city and adding to the pollution going into our lakes and streams.
Fecal matter in the forms of you know, our human waste, when it's not treated, gets kicked out into the estuary, and that can be a problem.
And it doesn't help that Duluth is built on the side of a hill. It just adds to the force of the rushing water. As the city grows and expands, the potential for flash floods becomes greater.
More roads, more parking lots, more rooftops. The water hits those areas. We call them impervious surfaces, and it gets directly transported to the streams.
There's no soil to soak up.
There's no soil, no trees and shrubs. So what people can do is limit their amount of impervious surfaces, limit their amount of paved driveways, and also, keep as much natural vegetation.
I was really shocked to hear that it would happen to someone that I knew, because we've known Pastor Jim all our lives and stuff, so it was kind of weird to think that it would happen in Embarrass.
People in Babbitt and Barris still can't believe that their pastor could be charged with criminal sexual conduct. The Evangelical Lutheran Church says at least 4 men say they were abused here as teens. We even found pictures of Pastor Holmgren and one of the alleged victims in the church directory. We won't show you his face to protect his identity. The ELCA bishop says his church will deal with the problem in a straightforward manner.
It happens, in every organization. Sometimes with this particular kind of thing, a person is very skilled at hiding it. And you shock a lot of people when it comes out. And you try to deal with it as best you can when it happens, but it's devastating to everybody. Everybody loses in this kind of situation.
Everybody, including those who knew and trusted Pastor Holmgren for years.
He was a good friend to my husband and I and our son and his family. We have a hard time understanding what really happened.
Church officials say parishioners are taking this very hard.
When you see the affect level of people when you walk into a room, I would say the only equivalence I've seen is if there was a murder or a suicide. The affect level of people is just devastated. They're blown right out of the water.
And something necessary is Rich is just going to grab a couple shots here with you, and I just
being that he has no community affiliation, that took us, and then we found that he lives in Minneapolis. We can pretty much put him in Minneapolis hours before he was found here.
2 people spotted Foster's body while driving down the St. Croix Drive Road. Foster had been shot in the center of his chest at close range with a large caliber weapon, facing the murderer when he died. Foster's vehicle was not at the crime scene, leading authorities to suspect someone may have kidnapped him. If that's the case, the feds may get involved.
Simply if there was any involvement of the conspiracy. Due to the fact that Mr. Foster was from Minneapolis, He died in Wisconsin, and if he was kidnapped, then that interstate comes into play here, and then we will contact the FBI for assistance.
Get away from me, you know, I'm over.
This is the one of them. I think there's a major issue in this state. Even though we may have some insurance adequacy, there's a problem and a danger because too few companies have too much control over this very large segment in our economy. We've essentially got two HMOs in one insurance company that control the market.
The investigation is steady, and I guess that's encouraging that we're still following up on leads, and we haven't reached a dead end. There's always some new information to check out.
I didn't know this party was going to be here, so I just came and I saw the neighbor, and I saw people over here partying, so I just might as well come and join.
The party young James joined on the spur of the moment was just one of 40 held in Duluth as part of National Night Out. The purpose of the night out is to give neighbors a chance to get to know each other better. It's hoped that neighbors who know each other will watch out for each other.
It gets everybody together, and it's nice to a chance to people to share and actually get to meet their neighbors. Sorry about that. Get a little wet. Tolerate the kids that are bugging you.
This party, held at the Central Hillside Community Center in Duluth, was sponsored by several neighborhood groups. It featured food, music, and plenty of games for the kids. Organizers say they'll definitely be doing it again next year. In Duluth, Dave Anderson, Channel 6 News.
Hey, puppy!
I'll do it, but I don't know if I'm gonna,
It was good for them to go out, you know, and to help others in a time of need, to know what it's like to be a part of something good.
They owed a lot of the installers money. A lot of people had money down on goods which they couldn't receive. And basically, they told them they're done.
Well, what happened, they've got about a 5,000-gallon tank back there that they were trying to heat some black oil in. And they had three 100-pound cylinders of propane alongside of it. But when they got it hot enough in the propane, one of the propane tanks let loose, and then all three of them exploded.
Let's go, come on, let's go, let's go, let's go. Right there, and then run, make a play. Nice. Pitch valve. Ready, red, white. Come on, get your pitch position out, Don. Get there, get there, get there, get there. Let's go, get the ball. Come on, come on, come on. Come on, let's go. Let's go, guys. Off the back, off the back. Great.
I think he's on his 5th match, and I don't think he's given up a point, but I know he's won all 5. I think one team scored a point, but other than that, he's won all the games 11-0.
Kevin Callahan is cleaning up his new house and life. For the past 27 years, Kevin only cared about one thing: alcohol. It all started when he took his first drink at 12. He says he felt accepted because of that, and from then on, that's how he related to people. In the years to follow, his drinking increased, and eventually he lost his job, his family, and found himself living on the streets. But it all changed one day when he blacked out and woke up in detox.
I just realized I didn't want to keep going that route, you know, because all the drinking in the world wasn't going to bring back my family or get me nowhere. And They're just bringing me down.
So in order to help himself realize his dream of living a sober life, he's moving into the Vine. About 2 years ago, a man named Ray Moore received an inheritance of $1,000. He wanted to put that money to good use. So after some careful thought and consideration, he decided to use that money to help buy this house.
The women's transitional housing is there, and it needs to be there. But it's kind of like covering over a sore, because the men are the ones that cause a lot of the problems, and there's not a lot of help for them. And we're hoping, you know, to be able to help them, and in that process be able to help the women also.
Ray knows firsthand what these men need. In his past, he's experienced violent abuse and the addiction to drugs and alcohol. He knows these men need shelter as they work for a future. There are no drugs, no alcohol, or violence around them. It's a safe and stable place that gives them a chance to succeed. Someday, Kevin hopes to get a degree in social work, so for once, he can help others. But in the meantime, each day he's concentrating on staying sober. He says it's a difficult time, made easier when he thinks of his 3 kids.
I don't want them to know their dad as that guy that was standing on the corner with the bottle in his hand. You know, I want them to be proud to say, there goes my dad, you know.
In Duluth, Angela Wang, Channel 6 News.
Now they're on my wall.
Number two. Get those girls.
Administration of the Edison Project and the parents of the students in the Edison Project have all the say to attain that level. I will also strongly guard.
Well, I won't know the names. The procedure tonight will be you'll each be given 5 minutes to speak. Say your piece. And after 5 minutes, we'll let people in the audience, candidate for the school district, and let's hear what Laura has to say. Laura?
Donald Kundle testified that Paul had been raised his arms and showed the jurors how those bruises would have been suffered. The jurors were then shown pictures of the autopsy. Several members of the Antonich family, including Paul's mother, chose to leave the courtroom during the testimony. In Hastings, Maureen Tallarico, Channel 6 News.
One we did for ourselves. This has been in business for just about 10 years.
This is a nice occasion with Grandparents' Day.
I'm going to come next year again too.
I got to pet a guinea pig.
They came down, I called them on the phone and said it's Grandparents' Day and it's a fun day at the zoo. Would you come down? And they all came down and they brought their other grandma with them, and my husband's over there and my son-in-law. We had a wonderful time.
Burglaries and car prowls continue to plague the Northland. Early Wednesday morning, August 27th, a thief checked out several cars along 63rd Avenue West in Duluth. From one of them, he stole a television, camcorder, cordless drill, and 35mm camera. The loss was more than $1,700. The owner had tried to conceal the goods, but didn't lock the door. The area of Duluth where the car was parked is west of the ore docks, and that area has recorded nearly 50 thefts from vehicles since the beginning of August. Help put a stop to this type of crime by bringing valuables in the house and locking your car doors. Call Crime Stoppers if you know who the thief is. Our numbers are 1-800-974-TIPS or 723-ENOUGH. Remember, every neighborhood in the Northland is experiencing this type of crime, and it's up to every neighbor to help stop it.
These public hearings that the state of Minnesota are putting on are the best chance for everyday citizens to come out and, just say, how important Lake Superior is to them.
Just that we're really glad that the expansion is happening here in Duluth, and it's because Duluth has such a wonderful quality of life. It's a beautiful community, and the work ethic here is unsurpassed. So that was a big factor in the company choosing to come to Duluth.
Was November of last year. But every once in a while, when we stop the music, somebody somewhere comes up with something in the vast armada that is the Department of Defense. Somebody comes up with something new that we should look at, and that's what we're hoping for this particular stand-down day.
She was ordered from the vehicle, and believing that this was a legitimate police stop, she did exit the vehicle. She was prepared to face a police officer, and when she turned, she saw a dark-clothed male matching this description with a face mask, and all she could see was his eyes. She turned to leave, and that's when he grabbed and assaulted her.
A letter to news. I used to work in the newsroom. They get just a couple of letters. They start shaking in their boots. So if you don't like it, write about it. Make those phone calls.
Thomas Jefferson said, be rebellious.
Be rebellious. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. A couple of letters. Shake them up.
I don't think there's a skew to try and present sensational news in this market, but it just seems to happen in a lot of news across the country that the most sensational news events, the things that make for good video, are dramatic, and that's what sells.
When we have students leaving a building feeling that they've accomplished something, high self-esteem, and when it comes to the high schools, that they're prepared to go on to whether it's secondary technical education or college. If we've met those needs, then those schools are successful.
My definition of a successful school would be exemplified by most schools in the Duluth system. I too agree that small class size, specialists, and so forth are needed, but you also need a rigorous curriculum.
My definition of a successful school is Nettleton School.
My definition of a successful school would be one which offers a diverse curriculum to all of its students. It would have the arts, it would have foreign language, it would have technology, it would have phy-ed and health.
For the children, the most important thing for them is the people that are working with them and inspiring them.
By definition, we are to be teaching lifelong learners, our students, in not only our local economy, but in a global economy.
We have to encourage that young kid to get a hold of the brass ring and want to learn. And we have to provide a whole package of encouragement as we move through the various schools to arrive at that conclusion.
Well, I really feel that our schools in Duluth are very successful. I think they could probably exceed if we had specialists in all the schools.
Tommy and Kaylee?
Kids are often afraid of going to the hospital, but when there's a chance to see what a real emergency room is like and care for their stuffed animals as well, they're usually eager for a visit.
Tell Teddy to take a deep breath.
Take a deep breath, Teddy.
Oh, good. Good job, Teddy. Let's listen.
This is the second year for the Teddy Bear Clinic, and the fun setting gives kids a low-stress crash course in the ER that can prepare them for real life.
I think they don't know what to expect when they first come in, and then after they've been here for a little while, they're having fun. They're more relaxed, and it's a good opportunity for them to see what emergency room is like without being sick.
There is always a variety of corrective procedures that need to be performed on the stuffed loved ones.
What's wrong with your Teddy?
Stitches.
Stitches.
Stitches. Okay, so we put stitches in and put a pretty Band-Aid down there, huh?
He needs a Band-Aid on his leg so he can feel a little better. Yeah, that's why. That's why he came here.
Rumble, rumble, rumble. I think he has a tummy ache because he hasn't had enough food to eat.
Luckily for everyone, it turns out teddy bear food also satisfies teddy bear owners. There were some anxious moments while the animals were being treated, but in the end, all of them pulled through just fine.
Have you talked to him about how he's feeling?
Uh-huh. How are you feeling, honey? He's fine. Yep. He's all better.
At St. Luke's Hospital in Duluth, Justin Acree, Channel 6 News. If he had done something wrong, you would think that he wouldn't get a job.
I feel we should have been notified. There was so many conflicting statements about they were closing, they weren't. So I think that caused a problem. Other than, you know, we're going to miss it, and I'm sure many others are, because to have it, there isn't that.
Having the ability to reach out and motivate and
her commitment, anyone who teaches a course.
People who, you know, they've really sparked my interest. I saw from my high school teachers the passion that they brought into the classroom, and that really is why I'm here.
Many of whom are here today. I come from a family of 9 children. 6 of my siblings are also teachers, and education has been today. One thing is crystal clear, and that's that the people who have been most influential in my life have been either teachers or people who put teaching above all other things.
You see a lot of Hollywood movie stars with tattoos, and of course athletes are wearing them all over their body now, and the more exposure, the more people want them.
It seems a lot of Northlanders want them too. Yesterday, hundreds of people packed the Lakeview Castle outside of Duluth for Tattoo U97, a celebration of permanent body decoration.
This year we have 11 different artists doing work out here, and the artists come from all over the state of Minnesota, all the way from Babbitt to Rochester, Minnesota.
The tattoos on display at the show ranged from eagles to Native American designs, and the wearers themselves are no longer just bikers and Marines.
It's becoming more socially acceptable to have a tattoo, and you'll see housewives here, you'll see maybe a lawyer here, or you know, anybody else is game for a tattoo.
Well, I don't think meteorologists are game for tattoos just yet, although a towering cumulonimbus cloud and a lightning bolt just might actually look good on my bicep. Maybe I'll make up my mind on that in time for Tattoo U98. At the Lakeview Castle, Dave Anderson, Channel 6 News.
Well, basically, it's just a computer with a camera up on top that's plugged into the computer, digitizes the video, it sends it through the camera.
And also we could type a message over to
Technology continues to amaze. And if we continue to stay on the cutting edge of development here on our staff, we're going to continue to bring these services to the home before anybody else in the world.
President Hardesty, I'd like to make an amendment, if I may, $95,000, and that.
According to our charter, we can have the police detain the counselors to keep a quorum here for this meeting.
We still have a
Oh,
quorum.
great.
No,
Mr. Dinan, could you advise me about that?
If you had a quorum before, unless somebody raises a point of order that no quorum exists, you can still conduct business.
Well, then I'll continue.
Okay.
As I stated before,
running.
One man hobbling with a walker.
Really?
Yeah, you know, I'm back in the classroom.
The task force recommendation for a retractable roof ballpark similar to the model that we've asked to renegotiate the lease at the Metrodome and hopefully again.
It has been a long and unpleasant process for all of us. Now it is time to find a way to bring our community back together and move forward. To lose baseball, in my opinion, is to lose a part of our culture. And we are prepared to do everything possible to keep baseball in Minnesota.
Be done. We obviously don't expect 22,000 season tickets to be delivered on March 31st, 1998, but the mechanism would need to be in place to produce.
Some of the plans that we had seen presented that would go toward the state's contribution, ball, period. Mr. Polat is a very, very good businessman. He's done a lot for Minnesota. He's been very successful in business.
And we hope that children in the future, as they become adults, they'll learn more, they'll know more about the system for voting, for the democratic process, and they'll vote in future elections.
And it's not very hard to make, and it's not, you know, it's not expensive to make. You just have to know what you're doing, and we're trying to teach the people how to make the very best lefse so they can. This is Lynn Trigested's recipe, and it uses 10 pounds of potatoes and a pound of butter, but then, you know, it sounds like a lot of butter in there, but actually it's a big batch. Most Norwegians will serve it during the holiday season, during the times when they have, and a lot of people have it at Thanksgiving even.
Well, how's this class been for you? Is this a bunch of students?
Oh, they're great. People are wanting to learn, and so they pick it up real quick. A lot of people have done it before too, but they maybe haven't done it for a long time, or maybe they did it with their parents or with their mother, and they say, oh, you know, I never had very much good luck, and we need a few tips. That's why we're doing it here.